Hey, let's go to Chuck. Y'all don't want to hear this. Let's do Chuck.
All right, Chuck, you've been introduced just like that.
What a setup.
Hey, I just want to know, when George Strait strikes up Amarillo by morning, does Clay sway? You know, do you sway? Do they still take lighters?
He gets a cigarette lighter out.
No, I take my cell phone and I turn it on.
Do they still do that?
No, you have cell phones.
Yeah.
You have lights on your cell phone.
Oh, okay. All right. It's been a long time, obviously, for me.
So,
How are you guys?
we're doing well this morning, and great news that we got to share with the world yesterday that hey, you're joining the team over here at ESPN Arkansas. We couldn't be happier to have you.
Man, you guys really buttered me up yesterday. And buttering Clay up, too. I
got to get you ready to drop you in the grease. So
I guess that's right. No, I'm excited about it. I've been ready to get back on the air. You guys know that. All y'all know that. And so this is a great opportunity. And it's, this is the only station I'd consider doing this on. And so, it's been a long time. But I think I'm still up to it. The hardest part's going to be, getting charged up and ready to go early. But I'm an old guy now, so I get up at the crack of dawn. So this is right in my wheelhouse.
Well, Clay, just so you know, the only condition that Chuck had was that he didn't have to work with you 3 days a week. So we were able to maneuver the deck chairs here, Clay, so that you could avoid that.
Well, I want to tell you, he may not want to do it anymore, but we had some great times. I mean, some great times. Including,
it was the time of my life. I mean, really was.
Chuck, I remember doing those remotes in Fort Smith where Tommy would take us to, it might be a rib place. And Tommy was giving us, like talent fees for coming, man. We would have just come for the ribs, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we always ate good. Tommy's always good about that.
I wish I'd have known that then. I'd have saved the money.
It's always on trade, but it's good.
Hey, it's like a real radio man. So, well, obviously some things going on here, and I can't wait to get started on with you Monday, Chuck, because I know basketball has been a lot more of the conversation lately than it normally is this time of the year. We're going to have football practice starting next week. How bad do you wish you were getting to go on this trip to Italy and Spain with Muss and the team?
Hey, that'd be a nice deal. This is like the third or fourth time that they've gone abroad, and they've not taken the radio crew. But I understand that. I heard you guys talking about this a little bit earlier, and that is the reason. I mean, it's just it's not like you can do recon work. It's not like you can go check it out before you go over there. So. You just don't know what you're getting into, and it's hey, I've done games on cell phones. That's what happened to us in El Paso that year, midway through the first half, and so it was. You can get into a real mess if you're not prepared for everything, and so that's the reason we don't do it. But yeah, I'd like to go. If they were to say, hey, why don't you tag along? I'd go.
The background you would have to do a mission like this, you would have to have done high school basketball for like 15 years in your career, because, Chuck, you did that back cutting your teeth. Some of the most technically challenging places you'll ever try to get a broadcast out from is a high school gym, particularly with a cellcaster and trying to find a landline and all that stuff, man. That's exactly what you'd be walking into over there.
I can tell you very early in my broadcast career, I'll always remember this because it was the night before Arkansas played UCLA in the Cotton Bowl. I literally leaned out of a coach's office in Charleston at a basketball tournament and stretched the phone line as far as it would go and leaned my head out the office door and did the basketball game. And I know, Tommy, you've done this too back in the day. It just happened. And I've just got visions that kind of like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons, but I know they're going to have a great time. I know their families are going to have a great time. It's always a good bonding session. And let me tell you guys, I had a little broadcast insight here. When the Eric Musselman radio show comes around and those players come on, you're always looking for topics to talk about. So every single one of them, you write it down, every single one of them on that show this year is going to be asked about the trip to Italy.
Yeah.
So I've already got my questions ready. Same ones I used 4 years ago, and 5, 6 years ago. And they'll all talk about it. It'll be a trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to your phone there, but you're kind of fading in the distance. We can't hear you as well as we did a minute ago, so I don't know if you moved the phone or something there. But, Clay, wouldn't that be I mean, you're going to see George Strait. I don't know how you top that, but Italy and Spain, Clay, would be pretty good.
Yeah, my brother went to either Brazil or Argentina with Eddie Sutton's teams when he was SID, and they didn't take Pat Foster and Gene Cady. And Eddie got tossed with about 5 minutes to go. So Butch had to coach the last 5 minutes. And Sidney Moncrief came over and he said, listen, you think you're going to coach. Just sit your butt down there and let us play. We're up by 15. Don't screw it up. Don't get a tee. He said it's the only time he ever heard it. Sidney Moncrief admonish somebody, and he said he hadn't done anything yet.
Oh. Got football practice starting, too. What day is it going to be Friday? That's what I kind of read, Clay. Is it Friday, Chuck? You guys gotten the schedule yet?
I'm sorry, guys. I had some issues there for a moment. One more time on that question. I've got you now.
Football practice. I think it's about a week from today is when they're going to roll out there and get going.
I'm excited about that. And, this football team, I think, going into, fall camp, if you want to call it that, I think from a mental standpoint, they are in a perfect spot. I think that's the one thing, and we focus on the physical, and obviously, ultimately, you've got to go out there and perform the physical. But I think mentally, where this program is right now, fans have great anticipation, and, man, we should. But I think from a program perspective, this is the next step. This begins the process of going from, they've moved from the bottom half to the upper half, and, there's a big glass ceiling that still has to be cracked. And I think that there's a very good understanding of that within our program. But I also think there's a confidence and a belief that we've not had before. And I think that trickles down to everybody. I mean, from the head coach to the last manager. I think it trickles all the way down. And I think from a mental standpoint, they're in a very good spot as they get ready to go back to work.
When you say that, Chuck, and I would echo that this is the first time in a long time that they've got some good top-line players, but they also got some depth. And they've got some young players that they've recruited in this last class that they don't have to play, but they may play. Like the two linebackers, Powell and Crook, they'll play on special teams, but they may roll in with their top three linebackers. And I just look around, Rashad Dubinion's going to play some at running back. They really are more prepared for adversity. There's been some teams where they had good front line players, and then they got a couple of players hurt, and that was the end of the season. And you're going to have injuries in the SEC, and I just think they're more set up for that kind of a deal. And these are good young players in that offensive line, but they don't have to play, but they might.
Well, and if they prove they can, they will. When you look at from a recruiting standpoint, what they've been able to do the last couple of years, particularly this last cycle and the cycle that they're in now, they are recruiting a different type player. Good players play early. They just do. And that includes linemen. Yeah. And now, I don't know if we are going to have the luxury of, recruiting a great lineman and, the old mindset of, he doesn't play maybe a lot till the third year after he redshirts and, backs up. And these kids have different mindsets now, and they're good enough players that you can play them early. I think depth is that's the name of the game in our league. because you've got to replace a good player with a good player. You cannot have a dramatic drop-off from 1 to 2. Now, obviously, there's a reason one guy starts and the other guy doesn't, but you cannot have a dramatic drop-off, particularly on the offensive line, because you're going to have to rotate, and guys are going to get hurt. I mean, that's just part of it at that spot. But they're recruiting better players. You're right about their skilled players, too. I think we'll call, you always call names every year you hadn't called before, but I think we're gonna have to make sure we brushed up on some of these new guys, because you're right. I mean, if they can play, they will. They'd like to, I'm sure, redshirt as many as they can, but you may not have that luxury.
Yeah, I think that they want to get guys on the field. They don't want people after their first year thinking, well, I didn't play, I can go to the portal, or something. They if there's somebody ready, by golly, they're going to play. Cam Ball is the guy that I think is going to step up and play some. But it just all goes back when you got that bell cow quarterback. I mean, it's KJ Jefferson is pretty darn good. And, I'm not ready to, compare him to Quinn Grovey and Matt Jones and Joe Ferguson and Clint Sterner, but it's close. Now he's coming, and he is a stud. Well,
he's a guy that, the defense has to account for on every play. He changes the way they line up. And he's going to make some of these receivers better because of his ability to run the ball. And by that I mean, a lot of these go routes, there's not always going to be the help coming over, because these guys, in terms of their alignment, I mean, they've got to respect the quarterback's ability to run the ball. And I think KJ, particularly on the deep ball, has a lot more opportunities for one-on-one coverage because of the way they have to account for him as the runner. Now, he's got to get better at the intermediate passing game, but here's the thing about KJ Jefferson is, I mean, this guy's a competitor. He's a competitor. He's a competitor in the way Matt Jones was a competitor. You mentioned Quinn's name. He's a competitor in the way great quarterbacks compete. And that's why your team follows you. If a quarterback doesn't have that quality, his team's not going to follow.
Yeah.
Now, they'll play for him, but they're not going to follow him, and there's a difference.
Yeah.
And KJ's got that knack.
The play that he made at the end of the Texas A&M game where he came back and they needed to kind of put the game away, and he carried some guys downfield, and he was beat up. And his teammates, if you look to the sideline, they were going crazy because they knew he was hurt. And when your guy is hurt and he goes out there and makes that kind of play and says, here we go, boys, I'm going through about 3 of them, and those are good Aggie defensive players. They couldn't stop him, and they had to get the ball back, and they couldn't. To me, that's when he told everybody, I'm the guy. It wasn't Texas. It was Texas A&M, in my opinion.
Oh, I think you're right. And it's a big kid. I mean, people talk about if he stays healthy, and that's always the big if with a quarterback. But he's 6'3" and 230. He's got a better chance to stay healthy than a quarterback who's smaller than that. And most of the time when he's involved in a collision, it's the other guy getting the worst in because KJ's got the momentum.
He is certainly a load to bring down. And I think if they can run it for first downs and run it for touchdowns this year, and I know we're going to focus on the passing numbers, and that's the stat everybody likes to throw around. And he got much better in November with accuracy. But, guys, if they're able to run it for first downs like they did against Penn State, run it for touchdowns like they did in that bowl game, it's going to be a team that's going to challenge 9 or 10 wins again this year.
I think they're going to be good. Now, you think about last year, and they won some close games. Year before, lost a lot of close games. There's going to be close games again this year. And as is always the case, there's going to be 2 or 3 plays that decide it, or 2 or 3 really big plays that, have a lot to do with the outcome. And, if you make most of those plays, you win 9 or 10 games. If you don't, you end up with 6 or 7. But they're going to be in that position, I think, every time they play. And the thing that I think is fun for people is you look up and down that schedule right now, even Alabama and Fayetteville. I don't think anybody looks at this schedule and says, man, there's no way we can win that game.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. That's what you had with Matt Jones, what you had with Darren McFadden. And I think it's what we're going to have with KJ is that, every time you play, you feel like you got a chance to win. Yeah. And that's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah. All right. We do this every time about this time of day, Chuck, and Clay, we'll have some fun with this. And Ty, you get in here too. It's our time for our Red River Dodge and Heber Springs poll question of the day. Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer. Log on at redriverdodge.com. All right, guys, in my right hand here, I bought for the show this morning on my way in a Mega Millions lottery ticket. It's going to be over $1 billion tonight, and I've got one. I even splurged and got the multiplier. So we're all in on this ticket here this morning. So if we win the $1 billion, what's the first thing you're buying besides the new cowboy hat, Clay? What's the first thing you would get with your part of this ticket? Because I know we're going to win this $1 billion tonight.
Well, it wouldn't be a new cowboy hat or it wouldn't be a new flower because I already buy those if I want them. And Gene N knows that. If I want it, don't buy it for a present because I probably already got it. I would take a train ride across Canada and fish 1,000 obscure trout streams, and I'd have a cook in the back of the train. I'd have a guide. I'd have my wife along because she'd love it. I might have a car that y'all could ride in and another guide that would teach y'all, and we'd have great dinners and wine. We'd have peach margaritas for Ty.
All right.
Tommy would have every kind of cooked meat. He's a meat eater. He's not a fish eater. He's a meat eater. Chuck, I think we'd have every brand of coffee that's there. I know you're a coffee guy. So that would be what there's a name for that train ride, and it is a posh deal. I mean, it's, at night they move, in the daytime, you pull up and it is just a grand backdrop. I would do that, and you guys would like it even if you don't fly fish. Yeah, but we'd have all the peach margaritas that Ty could drink, and I would hope he would stay drunk and passed out.
Well, if they needed a new name for the train when we got done, probably one car would be Sodom and the other one would be Gomorrah. When we got done with that trip. Ty, what would you spend your first dollar on?
He's mentioned the train aspect. I've always wanted to get in an RV and go across to all the great
same deal.
Yeah, sporting. You're talking about a fishing trip. I've got several different sporting venues, both college and professional, I like to go to, and somehow, some way, hook a radio doohickey up to it, do a radio show, and just go across the best sports places in the country.
Yeah. Hey, you could have a net jet either, Ty. It would work.
Yeah. A what jet?
Net jet.
Yeah.
That'd be a jet you just say, I'm gonna be right here, and they pick you up.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I'll take one of those.
That's
too.
the way I used to be with Stevens and their Falcon.
I don't know. I just like the RV aspect, getting to go through different towns and see different things like that.
Chuck, I'm guessing this radio deal's off if we win the $1 billion tonight.
I'd buy a big boat. I'd be gone. None of you guys would be invited. So
thanks.
you'd never hear from me again. I mean, your plans sound great. I mean, Clay's story sounds great. Ty can get in his RV. I'm buying a big boat, and I'm getting out of here. Love you guys, and see you in the next go-round.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the voice of the Razorbacks then, Chuck? You can pass that
I
on,
don't know,
Phil?
but if I win $1 billion, it might not be me. No, actually, I saw a great quote the other day, and Will Zalatoris, he's a professional golfer, and I know Simmons Bank is one of his sponsors. You see their logo on his shirt when he plays. He had a great quote about this live golf thing. He said, "You could give me all the money in the world tomorrow, and I'd still be doing the same thing." And I think we'd probably all be doing that. I mean, we can joke about what we'd like to do, but we'd all be doing the same thing. I mean, that's, what else would you do?
Yeah. Well, as my dad told me one time, if he won the lottery, I'm going to spend it on wine, women, and horses, and then waste the rest. So that's probably where
That's a good plan.
that's probably where I'd start. Is those three categories, and then the rest of it we just foolishly spend.
I'm already
at that
doing
point.
that.
So, I hadn't seen any horses. I've seen wine and women around your place, but never any horses, Clay. So,
We got a chocolate lab. I'll trade. It's the same as a horse. We're spending a lot on it.
So, well, Chuck, we couldn't be more excited to see you Monday morning. I guess you'll be in here about 6:30. I guess we better get the coffee pot rolling out.
Yeah,
early
you
in the
guys
morning.
better make sure you got that coffee thing stocked up. We didn't talk about that, but we probably need to.
Need an addendum to the agreement. More
Hey, by
folders.
the way, what's this senior fellow thing with Clay?
It's a self-appointed title, but
Well,
it's
I think
accurate.
we're going to roll with it, though, Chuck. So get used to it.
Guys, there's a difference between a fellow and a fella. Clay's a senior fella. I don't
Okay,
know. I
well,
don't
we
know if
can
he's a
tweak
senior
it.
Fellow.
Yeah. In radio, we've worked with senior felons a few times in all of our
Exactly
shows.
right.
Chuck, I got to tell you this. I'm really appreciative of you doing this. I've been trying to figure a way away from Ty for about 2 years, and you've just like everything I've ever done, you've come to my rescue. Thank you.
You bailed him out again.
Yeah, I appreciate it too, Chuck, because I got less work I got to do.
Ty said pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Clay is like you got a nice 63 Cadillac that you're trying to rev up in the morning. It just sputters and it takes a while to start in the morning. I mean, it's a great car.
It's a senior vehicle.
But it's a senior vehicle. It's a lot. You can start it up easily in the afternoon, but with you just turn the key and it's good to go. So
Like a push button.
yeah, it's a push to start, and I don't have to work as much. I just kind of set
I'm
the
an
golf.
old guy now. I get up too early.
Well, and for you, I just set the golf ball on the tee and let you hit it, and I just kind of sit back and I don't know do other stuff. My job has been made a lot easier since you took this, so thank you.
He hadn't started yet.
We'll see. We'll see.
He's like, I didn't sign the contract yet.
Chuck, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully we win the lottery, and I'll see you Monday.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Look forward to Monday. You guys have a good weekend.
All right, Chuck Barrett joining us this morning. He'll be with us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 to 8:30, beginning next week on the Morning
Partners
Rush.
at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's Wimbledon Finals, Major League Baseball, the latest fighting news, and even next season's early NFL futures. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BLEAV. That's BLEAV to get the bonus and get into the action. Bet online, where the game starts.